For this video, I'll just talk about what I've explored in the Zig programming language for dealing with terminal. Um, so we start out importing the standard library, and then I just set POSIX to standard.POSIX, um, so that I don't know, I could just write a POSIX instead of standard.POSIX later when I use the POSIX library. And let's go into this main function. So I guess first we initialize standard out and standard in. And then I guess the new thing, or I guess more interesting thing I kind of learned was the ANSI codes, the ANSI codes, where this one is like some escapes character. I guess this is a backslash x1. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, I think this entire thing. Oh wait, so yeah, this is the escape. This entire thing is the escape character as shown in the comments I wrote, and then this like introduces the control sequence, and then the rest of this thing is the control sequence. Um, I'm not really sure what the question mark does. It says modifies control sequence behavior, but I don't really know what that means. I think I need to look into more specifics later, or not. Um, and then this 1049 is like the code for opening an alternate buffer. And what that does is, like, right now we have this regular terminal here. But then, like, if we enter vim, so I'll just go vim, then this opens a new buffer. And that's kind of what it does. Except there are these tilde characters, which I guess vim adds itself. Okay, let's quit out of this. What the? Quit. Okay. And then, yeah, so there's this raw mode thing. And I guess raw mode, like typically you're in like this mode called canonical. And what that does is whatever keyboard input you put in, it'll reflect both in the alternate buffer and in the command line later when you exit out of the alternate buffer. But if you enable raw mode, then none of that input gets shown in the alternate buffer, and it's not written to the command line after you exit the alternate buffer either. So that's why we do that. And the cool thing about this Zigling, I guess, is defer, which means after it exits this scope of the main function, it'll run this exit raw mode. But also, I'll just show you guys enter and exit raw mode, or my future self enter and exit raw mode. Yeah, so I had to understand a bit about term, uh, iOS termios. I guess IO there is just for input output, and term is for terminal, but I don't know what S is for. I remember like when searching, termios doesn't really stand for anything, but that was the Google LLM telling me after it supposedly read the docs on termios. But I feel like term and IO, those stand for terminal and input output. So yeah, this saves the original settings. There's this posix.zig that, like, if you go into the official GitHub repository for Zig standard library, you could just search posix.zig, and that brings up a file that implements this posix.tcget attribute. And then I guess this just uh, gets the current terminal settings, which is the canonical settings in this case, because like when you run the command, you're in this canonical mode. Canonical mode is also known as cooked mode. I'm not sure why it's called cooked. It's probably completely separate from cooked, uh, the slang term, but that's all I can think of. And then, yeah, to enter this raw mode, we have this raw thing that stores the original term IO. That's, I think of iOS. It's not iOS, Termios. Okay. We store this original Termios settings, and then we adjust it to remove this echo and I canon, which for canon I think it's canonical. I don't know what the I stands for, but yeah, we set these to false, and then now we have entered raw mode if we run this command. And I guess one other thing that I kind of learned was for this try, like if this function returns an error, or actually, let me start up here. So for this try, if it returns an error, then none of the rest of the function will execute, and it'll just, because we have this exclamation point thing here, and then void, that means it's a error union return type. Or I guess, when I think error union, I'm thinking like the error is union with the void return type to create an error union return type, but I don't know, maybe my thoughts are wrong on that. Yeah. So then we have this exit raw mode, and what I found was that for me, at least on my machine, which is, I wonder if I have oops. Well, I wonder if I have NeoFetch here. Okay, yeah. So, okay, I need to make this larger. Yeah, this is my machine, at least on my machine, and this terminal, which is Ghosty. I'm not sure which version. Um, haven't updated it in a while. I don't know how to get the Ghosty version. Maybe this? Yeah. Okay, 1.1.3. For this, and I'm pretty sure most modern terminals, um, for some reason, I didn't need to have the exit raw mode. Like the terminal automatically reset it to the mode that it was in, the canonical mode it was in before. So I didn't really need to have this exit raw mode, but I suppose that that's just better if I kind of manually do it in case there are some terminals that don't do that. And I guess this catch thing right here, you could do instead of the try. And what this does is if it returns an error, it basically ignores everything and then continues on. And the reason why I do this with exit raw mode is like, remember we have this defer exit raw mode here that executes this exit raw mode after like the main has finished. So after the main has finished, you can't really do anything, right? So raising the error doesn't just causes the program to crash, which I don't know why you would do that. I guess if you really want, you could like put some print statement in here, like maybe std.io.get. Well, first you'll have to get the std out, and then you use the print statement with std out, and then yeah, then you could print stuff saying that this is why your terminal didn't get reset to the canonical setting, but in my case I didn't feel like doing that, so I just left it empty. And then yeah, this gets the window size, and this is some interesting syntax from Zig, where uh, or I guess the stuff in the, I'm not sure what this is called. I'll just call it absolute value signs. The stuff in the absolute value signs is what the get SC out win size returns. And um, so if it's successful, then, oh wait, I feel like win size might have been, hmm. Yeah, I think this is some special syntax with Zig where if it's successful, then it goes into the body right below, or this block right below. And then I can just print out the winsize.row and winsize.call through this debug print statement. Otherwise, we have this error thing, and then we just print that. What else? Well, I guess I'll show you guys. So right here we have this win size, and that's how, like, yeah, basically the code that I showed you before right here that did that. Don't know why it took me so long to talk about that. Okay, now we have this try std out print. So this just prints in the alternate, like similar to the debug one, because we already entered the raw mode, and because we, no, that's not right. Because we already entered the alternate buffer using this ansi code, then anything we print, whether it's like std.debug.print or stdout.print, it prints directly to the alternate buffer. And by default, it prints to the bottom left, like you saw earlier with the win size. And what this does right here, this H code thing does, is it moves it to the coordinate 1, 1, which is at the top left instead of the bottom left. Yeah. And then you just output 0. Because this code here is just going to be outputting the count of how many times I press S on my keyboard. So yeah. And then if I press some character other than S, then it'll exit this while loop, and it'll have this thing right here. Which will just leave the alternate buffer. And then I guess this is kind of some duplicate code that I could delete. Okay. And I'll just compile this. Oops. I forgot what the freaking command was. Oh, there's no C. Okay. Yeah, so I'll press S like twice, and you could see the 2 increasing. And the reason why it happens in the same place is because, because I have this error code 2K, which deletes the current line, and then this right here just outputs the value as stored in this scount variable. So that's why it stays at the same place. And yeah, cool. I think that's all I have. Thanks for listening to my just vomit of thoughts. Okay, bye.